This is another journal entry written on the 30th of March as well. Don't antagonize others whose opinions, beliefs, and thoughts you differ or disagree from. We all have our reasonings for the way we think. Our backgrounds differ, so we should reach more of an understanding of each other so we can see our point of views better. Antagonizing leads to more misunderstanding and even greater polarizing opinions. It is important to hold proper discussions and debates without attacking each other. No one is inherently bad or good. It is our upbringing and environments and perceptions that give us the lenses in which we interpret life. We should seek to try and properly view everyone's sight. So I wrote this. That I was reading a book. It was a book that I checked out from the library, and I just returned it. So it was like called The Lives of Stoics, written by, I think his name was Ryan Holiday, or maybe Brian Holiday. I know he's pretty like popular within, I guess, like the world of like philosophy in modern day and whatever. And so one thing was like, with a lot of early Stoics, there was like a lot of antagonizing when it came to differing opinions and ways of thinking. So the human reason why we will just automatically kind of like view the opposite point of view as like, an unfavorable or a bad point of view is because it's so different from the way we think and the way we've been brought up with, our ways of believing. And when you do that, it doesn't allow for you to just step back and try and understand the other person's point of view. So it's like, it's very important to, for one, ask questions, just know somebody, right? Before you try and go somebody based on some type of opinion that you have or whatever, or belief that you have, trying to go against them, just get to know them first. Get to know them as a person rather than, what you might already have some type of preconception of them, right? You might realize that you're going to have a lot more similarities than you do have differences. And again, like, it's very important just to get to know someone first before you try and engage with them in such a hostile manner, like when it comes to debating or arguing or whatever the case may be. And we just have to be able to see each other's like different point of views and different like sides of the world and whatnot. It's very important because everybody has their own origin. Everybody has a reason as to why they think or do certain things. And we should all be trying to understand why people do or think certain ways. Now, I don't mean you have to be like a psychologist or, whatever. You have to study the human brain, whatever, human pattern behaviors, and learn about trauma. I mean, those things will probably help, but you don't have to do those things. You just have to be willing to listen. You just have to have an open ear. You have to be the one to sit back and just like let other people speak, right? Let other people say stuff. Let other people talk about things that they like, things that they've experienced, let them talk about what just happened to them yesterday on the side of the road or something like that. And you're going to get to know them a lot better, and you're going to be able to understand why they are able to come to certain conclusions that, they will arrive at, or why they will take certain actions over others, although you might find it disagreeable, because now you have a better understanding of who this person is through and through, right? You don't just see them as like a holistically like bad person or an opposite person or someone who is unfavorable. You see them as someone who through their experiences has become who they are, today, right? And it's also one thing too is like, our job isn't to try and go and change these people, like as if you're trying to save them or something like that. When I mean our job, I mean just people in general, right? It's like we don't have to go out of our way to like quote unquote save these people or help these people out or make them change their ways. It's gonna take them to change their ways, right? And depending on their upbringing and depending on the people that they're surrounded by currently, they're either going to just stay the same way or they're gonna be self-aware and they're going to want to improve, and then all it does is it just takes them like a little bit of guidance, right? And when it comes to the point of debating, right, if you understand who it is that you're kind of going up against, or who you're kind of, whose points you're kind of arguing against, and you know them and you know who they are, and you know a bit about their history, then it's going to allow you to know why they believe in what they believe in, and why they think what they think, what they think of, or whatever the case may be. So that way you can kind of see like, okay, so you experienced this, so you're more likely to believe in this. You went through this, so you're more likely to do these actions, or you're going to do these actions for a specific reason, right? Like maybe someone, I don't know, you want to become a manager at your job, right? Because you just love just the managerial position. You feel like you've had great amount of experience and whatever. But someone else might become a manager purely because just for the money, right? Just for the raise, for the increase, the bonus, the benefits. Nothing about the actual position of manager do they really care for. And with those, different motives for the same exact goal, you can kind of understand and see that, those two individuals are not the same, right? You're not gonna be the same from your person at your job, and you know that, right? The person that works right next to you is completely different for you. You guys might be there because you're getting paid to be there, and you're working there, and you're doing the similar job, but you guys aren't there for the same exact reason, right? You might be there just for the money. They might be there just because, I don't know, they love working at Publix or Chipotle or Chick-fil-A or for whatever reason, right? And if you were to just, speak to them, talk to them, stuff like that, you would kind of like, okay, I can see why they're like this, right? It's so easy just to assume. And this is funny because this is the case with people who like are hard workers. Some people will kind of have like some negative connotation to them, especially when it's just like some like menial job, like, fast food or something, and there's someone next to them working really hard. They'll kind of, in a way, antagonize them in their minds or whatever, and just be like, well, they're doing too much, whatever the case may be. They're stretching themselves too thin. But if you got to know them, then you might understand, okay, why do they act this way? Why are they willing to go above and beyond for a job that, isn't paying them much? Why are they willing to do all this, to put in all this effort, whilst you're just kind of like what they will call like quiet quitting or slacking off or whatever the case may be. And so this way you don't have to go around with a negative feeling about somebody, right? Like imagine you walk into a room and then someone who you kind of think negatively towards is walking to that room. Now your whole mood is off. Now that could be fixed if you just instead put all of those emotions aside and like got to know this person, right? Now not everybody's gonna want to be open up and like, let them be known. Some people want to stay mysterious, or some people are just not interested in that type of interaction. But most people are. Most people would like to talk about themselves. Most people would like to talk about their experiences. Most people want to make a new friend, or, in general, most people like when you're interested in them. So, don't be afraid to go talk to someone. And again, you might even make a new friend, right? You might even just make a new ally or best friend, whatever the case may be. If you were to just go up and just be like, hey, you know what, this person who I antagonize in my mind or think about negatively or whatever the case may be, they might just be my best friend now because you like found out like, hey, we like so many of the same things. Maybe you guys even had a similar upbringing. So again, we should not be so quick to antagonize people for their beliefs and thoughts, that we might disagree from. And, again, like, this is all rooted from all of our different backgrounds, right? We're not all going to have the same exact background. We might have similar upbringings, but not everything's going to be the same. Maybe the mother was this type of person, the father was this type of person in their lives or in your life, and it's going to lead to just subtle changes and differences as to why they're a certain way, right? And sometimes you might say like, I don't understand why this person does this. Well, that's because you don't know them enough, or they haven't allowed you to know them enough to really understand why someone is going to choose an option that is like, just unconceivable to you. So again, just try and get to know people better. Don't antagonize people just because they're different.